Welcome back to another edition of From the Bridge. I'm your host, Captain and Concierge Rick Jones of the sponsorship agency FishBait Solutions. This is the third episode of Season 3, so let's start off today with 3 lessons. And these lessons apply to anyone regardless of your age or your experience. Lesson number 1. You have to be a lifetime learner or you risk becoming a fossil. And no one wants to be a fossil. And you can learn either early or late or in between your career. My first job out of college was as a high school basketball coach. After a few years of being a high school coach, I was fortunate enough to become a college coach in my early 20s. Now, we ran this underneath our basket inbounds play against man-to-man defenses that damn near worked every time for a layup or a wide-open short shot. It was a classic pick-the-picker type of play, and if we read the defense correctly, we usually got a layup. Now, where had I learned this play? I actually learned it from a church league girls coach. Now, I could have thought, hey, I'm a big-time high school coach and had the attitude of what can I learn from you? You know, arrogance is never a good quality. Instead, I eagerly sought out her thoughts and ended up with something that really helped our teams over the years. See, you can learn from anyone and everyone if you are alert and have the right attitude. I've learned and changed throughout my life and my career. Only a fool doesn't look to improve things, to find new ways to do things, and to try to learn something new each and every day. You must be a lifetime learner. Today, the rate of technological change is so rapid that change is essential because what you learned in college last year is really old news today. Again, let me repeat myself. You absolutely must be a lifetime learner. Lesson number 2. In order to have new perspectives, you have to listen to people that are not like you. To do that, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to check your ego at the door. If you think you're the smartest person in the world, then you're either in the wrong room or you're full of yourself. I'm now 67 years old and trying to help clients market, in some cases, to people 60 years younger than me and very different from me. How can I do that? Perspective. Someone else's perspective. Lesson number 3, different people makes the difference. Surround yourself with people not like you. Young people, old people, black people, white people, Hispanics, Asians, different religions, different politically. I love Gumbo. What makes Gumbo so great is all the ingredients. It's the same with agencies like ours. Being with people that act like you, talk like you, vote like you, and worship like you is boring. Open your hearts and your mind because that leads to understanding. Speaking of someone not like me, my special guest today is Lizzy Levine. I got to know Lizzy when she was an intern at Vince Thompson's agency Melt back in the summer of 2018. We reconnected last year when she reached out to me with a very big idea, which we'll discuss today along with a few other things. Let's welcome the lovely and talented Lizzy Levine to the bridge.
Appreciate it.
Well, let's start. I always like to start with our guest anglers at the beginning. Give everybody a little bit of your background.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm Lizzy. I went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide for anyone else out there. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, live in Atlanta now. A little bit about me, I studied PR while I was at Alabama, and I worked for the athletic department. So I did a lot of sports marketing there and kind of got really inundated with that and the whole sports marketing, digital marketing scene. That was fun. And yeah, that's a little bit about me. I have two pugs and just loving life right now.
Let me ask you, how does a Texas girl end up at the University of Alabama?
That is a very good question that many people ask. So I didn't get into UT. I was the biggest UT fan in the world, like sociopathic UT fan. I started sending handwritten letters to Mac Brown when I was 6. And we kind of became like pen pals, and he would send me like signed trading cards and all of that. So I wanted to go to Texas. I didn't get in because it's so hard to get in. And then I realized, I'll go to a school that has a big football team that's actually good. Because I wanted
That's kind of mean now.
It's true though. After Mac Brown left, they don't have a team. But I wanted to be a sports agent. So I wanted to go to a big school that I could work for the athletic department and get, experience. So I picked Alabama.
Well, you and I met when you did your internship with my good friend Vince Thompson at Melt. Talk a little bit about that internship.
Yeah, I tell people that the only good part about college is getting experience and internships. And that internship, I mean, we're talking today, and that was 3 years ago. That internship was one of the most valuable for me because I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do, but we were exposed to so many different people in the industry, from sports to entertainment to, high up executives to consultants to agents. And I think that you really were able to see what people did, and the connections were amazing. I mean, some of y'all that came to speak, I was like, how did he get y'all here? Like, this is insane. And I had a great time. Everyone at Melt was awesome and so much fun. And I think internships like that are so valuable, way more over school. School is like not valuable, really.
Well, I'll commend you for this. I speak every year for Vince. I mean, Vince is hard to say no to, and I always come in and speak.
Right.
And every time I speak, I'll say to everybody there, look, if I can ever help you, contact me. And I give out my business cards. Well, that year, you and one other young lady were the only two people that contacted me.
Actually?
Yeah. I mean, it's like,
wow.
It's like, well, I must not have made a good impression, but at least I fooled the two of y'all. But you did it anyway. And I remember you called me and said, "Hey, I want to be a sports agent. What do I need to do?" And of course, I gave you the classic, "You got to go to law school."
Right.
Answer. And I'm not sure I want to go to law school. Well, you're not going to be an agent.
Exactly. And then I was like, what should I do?
Yeah, it's time to pivot if that's the deal. But you have pivoted, and I'm really, really proud of you. You're now the founder of Viragoes, and I love your title, Chief Change Agent. What a great title. Talk a little bit about your business and your title.
Yeah, of course. It's so funny you said that, because I was emailing back and forth with my dad a few days ago, and he goes, Elizabeth, because that's my real name, and they only call me Elizabeth. He's like, Elizabeth, your signature, I don't even know what the heck that means. You got to change it. I'm like, Dad, you are so old school. I'm not changing it. So it's funny you just said that. But
well, I'm the captain. I mean, everybody sees what does that mean? That's whatever you wanted to mean. I'm the captain. You remember it. So
exactly, you remember it. It's like everyone is the CEO, whatever. But why I really made that is because I believe in change, and especially within the sports industry and just women's health in general. Why I really started my company is, I mean, like I said before, I couldn't get a job being a sports agent. I should have gone to law school if I really wanted to pursue it, but I didn't. And so I kind of came up with a solution for, women wherever they are, but also in the sports industry, because there's a big gap in sports experience for women. And so when you look at my title and it says Chief Change Agent, I really do believe that. Like, I want to be the person that is the catalyst for change, right? Women should have a great experience, because you can get your haircut at State Farm Arena, but I can't get a tampon. It's a little bit backwards, like.
No, it's a lot. It's a lot backwards. I loved your stated mission is to champion a new women's movement in the sports industry, and it just, part of it is even today, too many decisions are made by men who are basically clueless about the needs that you're talking about. You told me a great story about the inspiration for both your mission and the product you've developed. Talk a little bit about going to a game and yeah.
Oh, for sure. And thank you for supporting us. And there needs to be more people like you out there. If there were, it would be a lot easier for me to sell. But so one of the key components of why I really started the company and created our product is, think about how awkward it is to walk into anywhere, the American Airlines Center, with a clear bag full of tampons. Who wants to do that? Not me. And it's very uncomfortable. And so actually for game 6 for the Mavs, I did that. I didn't actually even bring in a clear bag. I just brought in a box of tampons, and I wanted to see everyone's reaction. People looked at me like I had 3 heads. Literally. But seriously, that experience for a woman, it's super awkward in general. It's not awkward for me because I don't care. But most people, it's very awkward, and you can't get supplies when you're at the game. Not only that, but you can't leave. So if you can't leave a stadium to get what you want, you're just going to sit there and suffer, or you'll have to ask 45 other women, do you have something? Which is also very awkward.
Well, it's amazing that so many organizations, so many stadiums, arenas, facilities don't understand the basics. I'm almost through reading a book by former Chick-fil-A CMO Steve Robinson. His book is called Covert Cows in Chick-fil-A, and it's really terrific, and Steve's promised to come on the show. But, one of the points he makes is that you have to get the basics down first. For Chick-fil-A, The basics are the food. If the food's not any good, the rest of it doesn't matter. And the great news is the food always is good. And so he can go on for there. But your product is about basics, the basic need that 50% of the audience may have to utilize, and yet they don't seem to get it.
You're right. And I think, and I'm going to have to read that book and definitely watch the episode with him, or listen to the episode with him, because, you hit it right on the nail. And who else says that is the founder of Raising Cane's. The little things are what makes an experience. If I'm a woman, and I am a woman, so I'm a woman, I love sports, right? I'm a huge sports fan. It doesn't even matter if you're not a sports fan. If I'm going to the game, I'm getting my whole family to go. My 2 kids, me and my husband, we're going to the game. And I don't have a tampon or a pad. First of all, I'm going to sit there and be miserable, right? Secondly, not only that, but I'm probably going to annoy my husband or boyfriend or whoever I'm with until I get that, which ruins his experience. But I think that the problem is that it's not that I think it's a lack of education, and people don't really understand, especially men, and y'all just don't have the issue. You don't have a period, so it makes sense. But I think what the problem is that people don't understand how terrible this experience is and how that affects the overall experience. Like you said, getting the basics right. I mean, that's like if you go to Chick-fil-A and they didn't have a chicken sandwich, right? For me, the little things, the basics, are what make you a true fan, are what make you a lifelong fan. if you have these products at your event, I'm going to say, wow, you really care about my needs. And I'm probably going to be a fan of yours for life because you're not just trying to take my money.
Well, we've gone through an era, obviously, because of all the security issues that largely came out of 9/11, where we had to go to clear bags.
Right.
And now we may go to no bags.
No bags.
That's the latest at all. Well, okay, now you got a real problem. You can't bring a bag in at all. I will tell you a story about the lack of customer understanding. And I'm not going to say what school it was, but I went to a school a few years ago to audit, to do what we call mystery shopping. So it's a college football game day, big game. I'm there watching everything that goes in. They have a clear bag policy. Well, the parking lots at this university are a long ways away, and a mom shows up with 3 little ones and a pocketbook. Okay, no clear bag. And they basically made her go back to her car. And guess what she did? She went home. She didn't come back. She left.
Yep.
And I was like, look, I know you have a policy, but how hard would it be to have a central locker someplace and say, ma'am, here's what we're going to need to do. We're going to walk you down here. We're going to check your bag into this locker. Here's your number, and you can pick it up after the game. It just amazes me, with the thoughtlessness of the rules. Why do we have rules? How do we circumvent rules in order to entertain people or take care of people? And in your case, now you're going to have a need and no product being able to be brought in at all. So what's your solution? Let's talk about your company and the solution. Yep.
For sure. So pretty much, if anyone who's listening is a woman or has daughters or a wife, you can ask them about this, but they have these really, really old school silver coin operated machines that look like they were made in the 1920s, which they probably were. And they're never stocked. The products in there are sketchy. You have no idea when they were put in there. And literally, who has quarters, right?
Right.
I don't even remember the last time I had cash, much less a quarter. So that makes no sense. And even if these are places, a lot of the times at stadiums, particularly at stadiums, most stadiums just don't even have them in there. And so when I ran into this issue a lot at, sporting events and airports and things like that, I said to myself, this has got to be redone. There's got to be a way that this can be more convenient for women. And just, I know how terrible the experience is when this happens and there's nothing for me. So I created a cashless, fully digital vending machine for all organic personal care products for women.
I would think now, not only those products, but in a COVID-19 world where you have to have hand sanitizers and all sorts of other products, that would be easy to have a vending machine filled with every kind of need that you might have at a sporting event right now.
Right. You would think that, but I think a lot of times people, not everyone, a lot of times though, people look at the bottom line, right? It's a business. I get it. How is this going to affect my bottom line? Well, it will in the long run. There's no immediate, monetary value immediately, but in the long run, you have a lifetime fan, you have a customer for life. But I think especially in the world we're in now, we're in this weird in between where, yes, I think it has helped getting people aware and more conscious of things to better the experience post-COVID, but it's almost like since it's not COVID centric, they're like, I don't really want it. And then since there's no immediate, what is this going to do? How's this going to help improve my bottom line, especially because of the hit that sports took with COVID? That's another issue we've run into.
Well, we know that at the collegiate level, and I think it's probably true at the professional sports level too, we have a disconnect with a lot of younger people right now that are not coming to games. And, we did some research a few years ago, and this one particular university, they just didn't have any Gen Z coming at all. And this was a school that had a disproportionate number of Hispanic students, and 22% of them were married with children, undergraduates, and yet they weren't coming to the game. Well, they weren't coming to the game because there's no daycare. And so, if there's no daycare, and they have daycare during the week, Monday through Friday, for you to go to class, but then the daycare wasn't open on Saturday, on football Saturday. And we're like, this is not hard. Open your daycare on Saturday. They'll come to the game. Of course they want to come to the game. And I'm thinking the same thing. If I have a small child that, I need a diaper bag, I need formula, I need diapers, I need pull-ups, I need all those kinds of things. And now if I'm being restricted by what I can or can't bring into the stadium, it's going to be an easy answer. I'm just not coming.
Right.
And guess what? If I'm not coming, he's not coming. And, and if he's not coming, the kids aren't coming, and the buddies aren't coming, and and it's a chain reaction. And I think what you're doing is very, very smart for the times. People need to not look at you as an expense, but rather as an investment.
Right. I would love that. I would love that. I hope everyone is listening to this, because that is very true. But I think, and I really appreciate you saying that, and it means a lot for your support, but not only your support, but there's not a lot of people who think the way that we do in terms of the fan experience, customer experience. And when you go above and beyond just, getting the basics right, people can feel that. People know that. And that's what sports is about. It's about the experience. It doesn't matter if you're at the airport, you're at school, it's always about the experience. And if you have one bad experience, like you just said, where I have 3 kids, I can't bring in my diaper bag, do you know how many people you're going to go and tell that this sporting arena or this place just doesn't really care? You'll tell 10 times more likely people than about the one good experience you had.
Well, it really is about the basics. One of my favorite sayings is, it's never the bear in the woods, it's the mosquitoes.
Yes, always.
It's always the little things, and you better bring bug spray, and you better think about that. And I see this a lot. I see it a lot at the collegiate level where, unfortunately, senior leadership, they have their own designated parking space, and they come up in an elevator and they go to a skybox and all that. They have no idea what it's like for a dad to bring his 9-year-old to the game for the first time. You don't know how to get there. You don't know where to park. You don't know what gate to go to. I mean, it's very, very confusing, because we don't understand what's going on for the fan base. And in the case of a female, we need to just make sure we check every box,
right,
to be able to do that. So I know you're out in the marketplace talking to a lot of professional teams, a lot of stadiums, a lot of arenas. We talked about a little bit about that you're doing some stuff in airports, and I think that's great. But let me ask you this. Beyond this, what else do you want to see changed or improved about the experience for women in sports?
Yes, I love this. So there's a few things that I'm really, really passionate about, the in-venue experience for women, right? But there's 2 other things. One is the marketing. I'm very passionate about marketing on a level that hits people emotionally. And when you watch a commercial of Yeti, is a great example of this. Yeti is a movement. It's not a product. It is a lifestyle. When you watch a Yeti commercial, they're inadvertently selling you. They're selling you on the experience, and you feel an emotion when you use your Yeti product because it invokes memories. Well, we're very heavily trying to do that right now, with marketing to women in sports, getting rid of this, let's just throw pink whatever on it and sparkle it up, and we can, market to women. That's how we'll get. And that could have worked 20 years ago, but you see it now with Naomi Osaka when she, withdrew because of mental health reasons. And it's just like, relating I'm not saying marketing mental health, but things of that nature where you partner with, let's say, Calm, or an app that promotes mental health. That would be a great partnership. And especially for, women in sports, things that matter, things that make women say, wow, they actually really care about my needs. And I want to use this product because I care. that's one of them. So marketing beyond just a pink jersey. And another one is merch. We're really trying right now, and we're ramping up a college ambassador program. And I would love, what one of my visions is, to get, merchandise that people would wear that's not just pink, but maybe not necessarily you have a huge Longhorn logo on it, but it's stuff that you would wear every single day that's cute, that's trendy, where you can show off your fandom, and it doesn't have to be, this pink jersey or whatever. Because one thing that I have noticed, me being a diehard sports fan, but women's fandom is always questioned. Whenever I'm watching an event, I'm at an event, everyone's like, "Oh wow, you know a lot for sports." I'm like, "Okay, thanks. Yeah, I do. Probably more than you, but thank you." And so I think that you automatically assume if a woman is not wearing a jersey or a pink jersey or whatever, she's not a fan. But it's because the merch is ugly. I really don't. And it's very man-centric.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want stuff that's cute that you would wear, right?
Yeah.
And then another thing is really the community aspect. We've done a lot of research, especially in the sports betting space, where a lot of women love to do sports betting, and that's how they've kind of gotten into sports and known about sports. And it's really a community, and we're creating a community where women can go outside of the game to really have their, support and fandom celebrated, but not just specifically for women. I envision a world where it's not, oh, you're a woman, you don't know anything about sports. It's where both sides come together and we can just enjoy and love sports.
Well, it's interesting. 2022 is the 50th anniversary of Title IX. And as far as we've come, you realize how much further we have to go. We still don't seem to get it. I was blessed. I'm the oldest of three boys, but my mama was a huge sports fan and a very knowledgeable sports fan. I mean, she knew more about baseball than my dad knew about baseball, and my dad knew a lot about baseball. So, I mean, I just grew up in a family where mom loved college sports and loved football, but loved baseball, and so I never understood that there was a difference between the sexes about how you enjoy sport, because I had done so much. My mom, a great story about her. She had a schoolgirl crush on a third baseman for the minor league team in Atlanta at the time called the Atlanta Crackers, believe it or not. And his name was Eddie Matthews, grew up to be a Hall of Famer. And she was there on opening night, the first night the Braves came to Atlanta and lost to the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-2 in 11 innings. Tony Cloninger, the pitcher for the Braves, pitched 11 innings. Can you imagine a starting pitcher pitching 11 innings today? What he did that night. My mom was there the night Henry Aaron hit 715. My mom was there the day David Justice hit the solo home run and Glavine pitched a two-hitter that won the World Series over the Indians. And then I took my mom to the All-Star game at Turner Field and said, "Mom, you hit for the cycle. I can't do any better from that." But she loved it, and her love of it became a love affair for me and for our family from that kind of standpoint. But hearing you today, you're right. We meaning the industry, just doesn't get it.
They don't. No. And I love the story you just told, because your mom made you a baseball fan.
No question about it.
That's how it is. They've done plenty of studies, and studies show that is most of the reason why kids are sports fans is because of a parent, but a lot of it is the mom. A lot of it, we've talked to many sports fans, and they're like, just same as you. My mom was a huge basketball fan. My mom was, I grew up single family household. My mom took me to all my baseball games. My mom supported me. She was always there, and why does I always question and wonder, why does it have to be this or that? Why can't it be both? Why can't you make an experience for women great just because you would do the same for a guy?
Well, it's not just gender. I mean, I'm watching a lot of people try to reach the Hispanic audience, and they just changed the English to Spanish. I didn't think that works. Hey, Lizzy, before I let you go, how can people find you? Where can they reach out to you?
That's a great question. Thank you. You can reach out to us on LinkedIn at Viragoes. You can email me, Lizzy, Lizzy, @viragoes.com, or reach out on our website, viragoes.com, or any social media.
Well, that's terrific, and I hope some people will reach out to you. I'm really following your what I call your mission. I know you're just getting started, and I can't wait to see what's next for you. So, Lizzy, thanks for being with us today from the bridge. Well, it's time to climb back up on my soapbox. We talked earlier about that inbounds play that worked for me so well. It worked because our players were alert. Alert is an underutilized word, but I like it a lot. Alert means you know what's going on around you at all times. Coach Bob Knight used to talk about knowing the difference between looking and seeing, and listening and hearing. When you look at something, do you see it and comprehend it? When you listen to something, do you really hear what's being said? Try staying more attentive this week, more alert. And that's today's view from the soapbox. Let's close the show with another On the Road with Rick segment. As I mentioned, I love Gumbo. Jimmy Buffett has a song called I'll Play for Gumbo. I get it, both the song and the gumbo whenever I can. And there's this little touristy but really good spot in New Orleans right on Jackson Square called the Gumbo Shop. They have a lot of great traditional New Orleans dishes, but make sure you start with one of the two traditional gumbos they make. Either get seafood okra gumbo or chicken andouille gumbo. I usually cannot make up my mind which one, but no problem. I just have both. Yes, like Jimmy, I'll play for Gumbo, the award-winning gumbo shop in New Orleans, Louisiana, on the road with Rick. Well, that's a wrap for today. If you like the show, please share the post we send out so more people can find out about us. I hope to see you next week from the bridge.